In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 5 investments as a solo player in GTA 5 Online. I decided to base this list off of 3 factors. 1, how much money it's made me. 2, has it bettered my enjoyment of the game? And 3, does it make things more efficient? In the number 5 spot is my aerial attack vehicles. These are very useful for missions and just getting around the map in general, and the 2 that I use is the Sparrow and the Oppressor Mark II. The Sparrow can be purchased after buying the Kasaka submarine for just over 1.8 million, and the Oppressor, which is something I got later on, it's more expensive, goes for just under $3.9 million on Warstock Cash and Carry. There are many benefits to having these vehicles, the first one being you could attach missiles to both of them. So that would make your heist run a lot easier if it's a KO Preco heist or Autoshop contracts, whatever it may be. Having missiles on these vehicles is very handy. They're also some of the fastest vehicles in the entire game, and they offer great maneuverability, so it's easy to get through the city and the countryside. And the final thing for me, which is probably the most important thing, is that you can retrieve them from your interaction menu. So for the Sparrow, you could go into your interaction menu, go to services, then Kasatka, and then request it to be spawned right next to you. And then if you just set the Oppressor as your primary personal vehicle, you could spawn that in next to you anywhere on the map. And because of all these features, I've just found them extremely helpful for me playing the game. I've got to say the majority of my game has been played with the Sparrow because I've done so many KO Preco heists, and I'm telling you, the KO Preco heist would be like an hour and a half, 2-hour heist without the Sparrow. If you have to constantly get out of your submarine, get into a dinghy, go to shore, get another car, like it is crazy. So the fact that the Sparrow is already in the submarine and you could take it straight from there, and then also when you come back, land it in the submarine from above it, it makes it just such an incredible time saver. So having the Sparrow, especially for the KO Preco heist, is important, but using it at any point is great. And then having the Oppressor is just, you could never go wrong. Next up is the number 4 spot, and it's going to be the Autoshop. Now, I bought this for one specific reason, and that is so that I could do the Autoshop contracts. These are essentially mini heists. You get 2 setup missions with the finale. They're very quick to do, 25-30 minutes tops, and it's a ton of fun. There's 8 different in total, and this is the main reason why I got it, because it gave me more variety in the game. For a while, I'd been grinding out the KO Preco heist, the bunker, the acid lab. I wanted something slightly different to do, something that made it feel like we were in the old GTA 5 again, like the original story mode, and the Autoshop contracts with the Autoshop are incredible. Now, they do pay out between $170,000 to $290,000, so they are fairly decent. You could be making upwards of $400,000 every single hour with the Autoshop contracts, but of course, that is not their main selling point, especially compared to the KO Preco heist when you can make $1.3 million in 45 minutes. But as I said before, I purchased some because I thought they're a great way to enjoy the game and a decent way to make money, and so that's why it's in the number 4 spot for me. Up next in the number 3 spot is the agency. It's by far one of the best income generating businesses in the entire game. You can purchase one for as cheap as $2 million, but this business offers 4 different ways to make money, and one of them being the second best way to make money in the entire game. But for me, the reason why it's number 3 is the versatility of the ways to make money, and we'll go through that now. So first off, you can earn passive income with the wall safe every in-game day. So this could be a set amount of money deposited into your wall safe every day, similar to the Nightclub. Next up is the security contracts. These are simple contact missions. They go for anywhere between 30 and 60K as payouts. Fairly simple, 5 to 10 minutes max, a little cooldown afterwards. But what's important is that for every security contract you complete, you will generate an extra $100 deposited into your wall safe every day. So while those are 2 completely different methods to make money, they work in tandem. And here is a third one that will work with those security contracts. Once you've completed 3 security contracts, you can then go on and do payphone hits, which are probably, I would say, the best versatile money method in the entire game. And what I mean by that is the payphone hits are essentially just simple hitman jobs. You get a challenge, and if you complete them, you will earn $85,000. But the best part of it is you could call up Franklin anywhere on the entire map, and he's going to direct you to the closest payphone, and you could start the mission from there, which makes it so easy. You don't have to go anywhere in particular. You just call up Franklin, request a payphone hit, and he will send one to your nearest payphone. Pair that with the fact that it only takes about 5-10 minutes to do. It's a great way to make $85,000. And of course, the final way to make money with the agency is the Dr. Dre contract. Probably one of the most enjoyable missions, or heist you could call it, to do in the entire game. This is where we are retrieving Dr. Dre's stolen music or unreleased music. It takes about an hour and a half. It is essentially 3 mini heists and a real finale, and it pays out $1 million. So like I said, $1 million for about an hour and a half's worth of work, which is incredible. And finally, a couple extra features that the agency has that are incredible is, first, you can get the Autoshop, which allows you to apply Imani tech to vehicles, armor, weapons, all that kind of stuff. Incredible. You also get an access to a free helicopter. You get snacks. There's so many great things about the agency, but with that being said, let's move into the number 2 spot. And in the number 2 spot, I'm cheating a little bit, but I'm doing multiple things. They are passive businesses. Now, these are crucial if you're a solo player, because there's only so much money you could make as an individual. And solo players have been punished a little bit over the past year. One example being the KO Prickle heist cooldown is almost 3 hours for us solo players versus just under an hour for people playing with friends. So we are limited with how much money we can make, which means it's very important to have extra money being generated for us in the background as we play. And that's where these 2 businesses come into play, the Acid Lab and the Nightclub. First, we'll talk about the Acid Lab. This was very simple to complete. You had 6 first dose missions, the setup, and then I did the 10 Fooligan missions so that I could get the equipment upgrade. And in total, the business and the upgrade will cost $1 million, but you make $1 million from all those missions, so it was a free business for me. I got very lucky. But this thing has treated me so well because it's by far the most low maintenance business and the easiest way to make fairly quick money in the game, at least in my opinion. And that's because if you go and purchase supplies for $60,000, all you have to do is do that twice, and it will take 1.6 batches worth of supplies to generate a full nightclub. And the full nightclub can then be sold on for $335,000, but I personally sell it in a public lobby, 25 or more people, earn a 50% bonus, and my final sale on these missions is $500,000. So I'm spending $96,000 on supplies, I'm waiting 4 hours time, and I'm selling it all for $500,000. Easiest $100,000 per hour in the entire game, in my opinion. But things get even better when you pair that up with the other passive income business, the Nightclub. If you set it up properly, you have 5 technicians, enough warehouse space, and you assign the technicians to cargo and shipments, sporting goods, pharmaceutical research, South American imports, and cash creation, you're going to be making $50,000 every single hour, which is what I personally do. And then I keep my nightclub popularity maxed out so that I earn $50,000 every in-game day through the wall safe, which is the other way to make money. Those 2 combined has the nightclub earning an extra $100,000 every single hour. So combined, the Acid Lab and the Nightclub are currently making me $200,000 in passive income every single hour. It is so low maintenance, so easy to do, and I found it's really helped me out in my money grinding. And if you guys want to implement these things for yourself as well, I highly suggest doing so. And before we get into the number 1 spot, I have 2 honorable mentions. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any clips for these because if you guys aren't aware, the PC version of the game is essentially broken right now and you can't really log in. So you'll just have to watch whatever you're watching. My apologies. But the first honorable mention is personal quarters or accommodations. Now, I know these seem like a weird addition to the list, but I'm telling you, they're the biggest time saver I've ever had in this game. And that's because if you have a personal quarters or an accommodations at a business, you're then able to set it as a spawn location, which means that if you want to travel somewhere quickly or travel to that business, set it as a spawn location, enter into a new invite-only session, and you're going to be there in seconds. I'm talking 10 seconds max. So quick to get around the map. The days are gone where you're driving around the map or flying in your Sparrow or in your oppressor to get places. I just use my spawn location to teleport everywhere. I'm telling you, it has saved me hours and hours of time. So if you haven't considered doing that already, I highly suggest doing so, but that has been a huge helper for me. And the second honorable mention is going to be weapons. You cannot go through the game, especially as a solo player, where you have no backup without good weapons. And just a couple important ones to mention is the special carbine, the RPG, the railgun recently has actually been fairly good for at least when NPCs pull up in a car. If you shoot them before they get out, it's going to blow up the entire car, take out all the NPCs, so that's been a really helpful weapon. But just make sure that you are stacked up fairly well in your weapons, because that's going to be very useful for you as a solo player. And that brings us to the number one spot on the list, which should be no surprise to anybody. It's the Kasatka submarine. Now, of course, the submarine gives me the ability to then purchase the Sparrow, which is something that we talked about earlier. It's very important for me as a solo player. But the most important part of the Kasatka submarine is the fact that you're able to do the KO Perico heist. This is the number one moneymaker in the entire game. I've now been able to get my heist run down to about 45 minutes on average, and it's paying out about $1.3 million every single time because I'm getting the elite challenge every time, I'm filling up my loot bags, all that kind of stuff. And this heist has made us so much money, especially on our Billionaires Beginnings account. It's probably made almost half the amount of money that we have made total, which is just over $100 million. So it has been a great money method for us. There is a 2.5 hour cooldown once you complete one as a solo player, but it does not matter because even at that cooldown, it still beats out a lot of other money methods in the game. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other videos you want to see, leave those suggestions in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.